let's have a look at gaining entry to a classroom. Once Rowan has entered the school, he will proceed to one of the classrooms allocated to your grade. Please note the red social distancing markers outside of the class. Please pause there for a second, Rowan. You may not gain entry to the classroom until the teacher is present. Very important to understand that during break time, classes will be out of bounds. If there is more than one child waiting to gain entry to the class, you will be required to stand on the red markers and to observe social distancing. On arrival at the class, you will have the option to engage with a hand sanitizer positioned on the wall, or to allow the teacher to sanitize your hands by spraying them with a bottle. Once your hands have been sanitized, you may be asked by the teacher to show your medical questionnaire in order to ensure that you were screened in the morning, but that will be a matter of choice for each teacher. Once your hands have been sanitized and your screening has been confirmed, you will then gain entry into the classroom. The ground staff have been very busy repositioning desks and marking out the classrooms to ensure that you are able to sit at a desk and ensure that you are still able to observe social distancing. Please note that Rowan is still wearing his mask, making his family very happy. I think they insist that he wears it at home as well. Please remember that whilst in the classroom, you will not be permitted to touch or to borrow stationery or a sheet of paper from any of the learners in the class. What we are trying to ensure is that you do not come into physical contact with any other person whilst at school. Sitting at your desk, you will be required to wear your mask, and your teacher will either wear a mask or as Mr. Marks is doing, wear a visor whilst engaging with you. Teaching might be slightly different because the teachers are no longer going to be able to move around the class and come to your desk and engage with you on a one-to-one basis. But I'm sure that with a little bit of time, we will all get used to these procedures. Once the class is finished, we are then required to sanitize the desks. The teacher will appoint one or two boys in the class to wipe the desks down. The teacher will retrieve some tissue paper from the dispenser on the wall. He will ask one or two boys to wipe down 2 or 3 desks, and then he will spray the surface of the desk, spray the surface of the chair, and the teacher might ask the boy to do more than just the desk that he was sitting in. As you can see, Rowan is wiping it down. You don't need to clean it thoroughly, Rowan. Just make sure that you've wiped the entire surface with the sanitizer. And then very importantly, once we now have the dirty piece of tissue paper in our hands, it must be disposed of in safe disposal. The teacher will remove the lid of the dustbin and will only return the lid to the dustbin once all desks have been sanitized. Once that procedure is finished, your hands will again be sanitized, and at this point, you may exit the class to go to your next lesson or out to break. Once again, because we need to emphasize these things, please remember the need for social distancing. Even when you're on your way out to break or to the next lesson, ensure that you have 1.5 meters between yourself and your mate in front of you and behind you. Obviously, our passageways are a little bit limited in terms of movement, and maybe the teachers will finally get the kind of structure and management that we've always wanted while you move around the school. Please ensure that you stay to the left-hand side of the passageway at all times so that we can ensure that there is social distancing. Rowan, if you will walk up to be adjacent to Mr. Marks, so that we can ensure that if we have 2 classes moving in the passageway, that we not only are distant from front to back, but we are also distant to the children moving down in the opposite direction. We hope that this tutorial helps you and makes you feel a little more at ease, a little more comfortable with managing the pandemic whilst returning to school. We look forward to seeing you come back, and one day, perhaps even to seeing Rowan's face. Thank you.